Notre Dame football had an elite defense in 2024. Now heading to 2025, a lot of talent coming back, but some position battles on the horizon, getting you all ready for spring practice. Let's talk about safety position and the great talent that Notre Dame needs to tap into in order to have another great defense. Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports, breaking down everything Notre Dame football. Folks, we're getting you ready for spring practice, talking some position previews. Already did a little bit of quarterback talk, and I want to go to the defensive side of the football, where there is going to be a little bit of some turnover on that side of the football, obviously. New defensive coordinator Chris Ash coming in, a lot of veteran talent out the door to the NFL, but a ton of talent returning. And I want to talk about safety position, because we have been kind of spoiled over the last few years. You have Kyle Hamilton, obviously, what he was able to do and what he has been able to do now with the Baltimore Ravens. You have Xavier Watts, who turned out to be one of the better safeties that we have seen in the history of the program. With Watts out now, we expect Adon Schuler, now entering his third season on campus, to develop into one of the best safeties in college football. Obviously had 59 total tackles, 3 interceptions, and 8 pass breakups in 2024. A really strong first year as a starter. But next to Adon Schuler, there is going to be a lot of competition, not only in the spring, for the rest of the offseason. So let's talk about the candidates here for Notre Dame to know for that safety battle next to Adon Schuler. Starts with Jalen Stroman, who is a veteran safety, a transfer, graduate transfer from Virginia Tech, 6'2", 200 pounds, pretty big safety, more known as a box guy, a guy that's going to come down and play more near the line of scrimmage, a really good tackler. Maybe doesn't have as much upside as a pass coverage player, but has had tons of experience, which is something that this room obviously lacks outside of Schuler. Next, I want to talk about some of the young talent. Let's go with true freshman Jadon Blair, who's been with this football team now for well over a month here. Actually was with this team during the playoff run that they had. 6'5", 195 pounds listed on the roster. It's hard to be compared to Kyle Hamilton physically, but Jadon is as close as we have seen at Notre Dame. Now he's a true freshman. Is he going to be able to come in and absorb the playbook and be ready to go, and then adds good weight to his profile to be a potential starter in 2025? It's very possible. He's incredibly talented, as is Bronte Johnson, who spent some time at corner in 2024 based upon necessity. Obviously, there were some injuries in that room, but this young man, another kid, 6'2", 190 plus pounds, really athletic. Kid that needed to, just from a technical perspective, need to be developed. He was a little bit of a freelancer in high school, and a kid that was asked to do everything coming out of the state of Indiana, but incredibly talented. You could argue that he has the best range on the back end. Couple other safeties to know. Kennedy Urlacher, who's going to be a true sophomore. We saw flashes of him on defense last year, especially in a couple of blowouts. Saw him on special teams make an impact as well. He is one of the smallest safeties on the roster, but don't tell him that, because although he's only about 5'11" and about 200 pounds, this kid will come down and he will make his presence felt as a tackler and as a hitter. How good of a coverage player is he going to be? That's still the bigger question. But there's no questioning that Kennedy Urlacher is going to play a physical brand of football. And I feel like the guy that we don't talk about nearly enough is Luke Talich, who is 6'4", 210 pounds. He was in the two deep a lot for Notre Dame last season. Now was a stellar special teams player. Really athletic player who's continued obviously to grow into his frame. Very talented athlete, but it's going to be now about seizing potential opportunity. So we could see a split share this year, honestly. You could see some of Jalen Stroman. You could see a little bit of Jadon Blair. You could see a little bit of Bronte Johnson. But there is going to be a competition for who is the starter and what the pecking order looks like behind him. Folks, who would you like to see starting next to Adon Schuler? Do you want to see a true split share? Do you want to see Jalen Stroman, Jadon Blair, Kennedy Urlacher, Bronte Johnson, Luke Talich? Who's your guy? Who's your early prediction to be the starter opposite of Adon Schuler? Make sure to put that in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. I'll talk to you next time. Go Irish.